Hey, it's your morning digs with Dino Dave. Happy hump day this Wednesday. Current weather, it is 2 degrees. Well, yes, it's Wednesday, March 27th, and today is Mule Day. Mule Day is an annual celebration of all things related to mules and is held in Columbia, Tennessee. So if you're really bored and you need to plan a vacation, make sure you attend Mule Day. What kind of people are there all day long? I can't. If only I was in Columbia, Tennessee today to see Mule Day and have them celebrate that. Begun in 1840 as Breeders' Day, a meeting for mule breeders. It now attracts over 200,000 people. Takes place over 4 days. In addition to mules, traditional Appalachian food, music, dancing, and crafts are featured. Sounds like fun. When do they go to the bars? What drink do they order? Moscow Mules, the dunce. It is National Joe Day. The Holiday Insight website says this: National Joe Day is a chance to change your name, if only for a day. I wouldn't mind being called Joe, because I'm always hungry. In Glendive, we've got this Hungry Joe thing. Many people do not like their given name. They wish they could change it. A few actually do. On National Joe Day, it is perfectly okay to have everyone call you Joe. Why Joe and not Bob or Mike? Okay, well, Joe's not so bad. Dave's not so bad either. There are too many Daves. I told you that story yesterday where I had 3 Daves in my grade growing up, and everybody else got to just write their last name on their first name on their paper. I had to write the last initial also, and every time I drew that little F, it made me mad. In fact, and back there it's called David too. I wish I would have been called Dave. It'd be one less letter to write. Over 12 years, that adds up. Elementary school. But I was so jealous that there's a National Joe Day. I had to look up to see if there's a National Dave Day, December 8th, because that's kind of is it narcissist, diva? I don't know the word. I'm jealous. National Spanish Paella, Paelle Day. How do you say it in Spanish? Paella Day. Anyway, it's some rice dish like they all are. If you're Spanish, go make yourself some paella. This day in history, 2007, NFL owners voted to make instant replay permanent officiating tool. Let's go to the instant replay on that and see if I can do that better. 2007, NFL owners voted to make instant replay a permanent officiating tool. See what I did there? 1954, on this day in history, the first shopping mall in Southfield, Michigan opened. And boy, that set the trend for the 80s, but don't know what they're doing anymore. 1914, the first successful blood transfusion was performed in Brussels Hospital, which means there's a lot of unsuccessful blood transfusions and those poor people. 1884, the first long-distance telephone call was made between Boston and New York City. Wonder what the first text message must be Morse code. And how does this work? 1790, 1860, and 1866, 3 everyday objects that were invented on this day: the shoelace, the corkscrew, and the urinal. Well, okay, the more you know. Let's start our Wednesday, this hump day. Here's some Chris Stapleton. That'll always work. You are listening to Dino Joe in the morning, for today anyway. I kind of like being called Joe. That might work. I would be called Joe's a great name. Or, maybe in my videos, everybody needs a sidekick. Maybe it should be Dino Dave and Hungry Joe. Hungry Joe would make a great sidekick name, especially for Glendive. I need to go find a sidekick there. If you want to be my sidekick, I'll take applications and we'll go make some dinosaur videos and you can be Hungry Joe. Let's move on. U.S. news and other news. Man attacked by a thumb drive. In a Teaneck, New Jersey man was charged Saturday with attacking a man with a USB flash drive. Of all the things in the of the weapons, you got to watch out for those flash drives. They'll give you a virus. That was a computer joke for all you nerds. Cameron Cole, 25, allegedly struck the victim with the flash drive during a dispute, causing lacerations to the victim's neck and arm. It's a heck of a flash drive. The victim was treated at the scene. Mr. Cole was taken to the medical center for psychological evaluation. I wonder what they came up with. Stolen Jagmar Jaeger bobbleheads recovered. I remember talking about this story probably a few weeks ago, how all these bobbleheads were stolen. And the Pittsburgh Penguins announced that a special cargo recovery team, in parentheses, negotiated. Ooh, that means the return of a truckload of Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads. That means they were held for ransom. This sounds like a movie idea. The little bobbling figurines honoring hockey legend Jaromir Jagr, I don't speak hockey, were supposed to be handed out to fans at a game earlier this month, but they were stolen in California before they could be sent to Pittsburgh. But if they were negotiated, sounds like these thieves are coming out ahead on the deal. You're not supposed to ransom with terrorists, but I guess you can ransom with bobblehead terrorists. The bobbleheads are now en route and should arrive in Pittsburgh within the next week or so. Things are looking good for Pittsburgh. Fans who hold a voucher to the March 14th game against the San Jose Sharks will be able to swap them for Jagr bobbleheads starting on April 6th. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says an investigation into the crime is going on. Well, I am invested, and I want to know the total. I want to know deets on that one. And finally, McDonald's to start selling Krispy Kreme donuts. See, there's so much bad news in the world, and this is why I do this, because this is good news. This is like, this is the marriage I want. I want to find the Krispy Kreme to my McDonald's. Okay, McDonald's announced that they are teaming with Krispy Kreme to offer their donuts in all McDonald's restaurants by the end of 2026. Krispy Kreme currently sells its donuts 6,800 off-site locations. Adding McDonald's will bring another 13,500 outlets. Plus, Krispy Kreme has plans for another 900 locations by 2027. All is well in America. When it comes to March Madness, whether they're lifelong or bandwagon fans, more than 3/4 of the people following the college basketball tournament have a favorite team they're rooting for, and 59% of those fans believe their team has what it takes to make it to the Final Four. And 14% of those fans need to go to Gamblers Anonymous. I was listening to that news story about the bears being euthanized. I used to think the word euthanize was getting young again. I mean, that makes sense, right? Youth, and let's get euthanized. So I'd always hear my history teachers talk about, like, in this country, they euthanized 1,000 people or whatever. And I'm like, that is awesome. I want to go to a country that euthanizes people. Found out later. Bunny biting. With Easter this Sunday, March 31st, which is wrong. Easter should not be in March. I don't know the Easter rules, but it should be in April. When I am president, that's getting changed. With Easter this Sunday, chocolate bunnies are everywhere. How do you bite your bunny? This is according to WalletHub.com. A recent survey found that 78% of us prefer to bite the ears. Oh yeah, I'm in the 78%. 11% go for the feet. No, you don't go for the feet. While the remaining 11% chomp down the tail. I wonder what that means about your personality. Freud should do a personality test on where you bite your Easter bunny. Yeah, but you know what made me mad? Brandon, I don't want to say his last name, but my buddy Brandon, I went over there for Easter, and he got a solid Easter bunny. You know, I saw his basket showing it off, complete, solid, huge, solid chocolate. So like, oh wow. And then I got my big Easter bunny, and it was huge, and I bit into the ear, and it was hollow. So cruel. It's tough growing up poor. Well, let's see. Why do male friends cover for each other? This is according to the book Why Men Are the Way They Are by Warren Farrell, Doc PhD. Well, you don't need a PhD for that. That book's going to be, that's a short book. In fact, I could write that book in, hold on, let me count on my fingers here. Because they are dumb. I could write that book in 4 words, because they are dumb. Anyway, for guys, it's an us versus them mentality. Their male friends understand them in a way that women never will. And that creates a strong bond. Plus, loyalty is the backbone of a man's friendship. It's all we got. Women are a Rubik's Cube. Men, that's all we got as a bros. It's how they show they care. Some of the closest male friends have little in common aside from the fact that they follow a code that mandates doing what it takes to keep their friend out of trouble. True. Let's do some postcards for Dave, my buddy Dave from kindergarten, who's not on social media, but he sends me his own postcards once a week, and it's glorious. I got a whole stack of them for like the last 5 years, so we probably have a good month left, and then I'll take a break, or we'll just keep going, do them over again. So look at this one. Now I've got this recorded now. This is a nice picture of the desert in Peru near Lima. He went on vacation. There's a sun in the background, just sunset. It's dark. It looks like Star Wars. He would like it if I said that. And he goes, "Hey Dave, what's the difference between a poorly dressed man on a tricycle and a well-dressed man on a bicycle?" A tire. Oh, a tire. Okay. Here's a postcard of, it's a bunch of lights, like some kind of light show they have in California. I can't even describe it. You'll just have to see it. I can't describe it. It looks like it looks like Holland, only with tulips, only they're lit up and it's at night. That's my best way to describe it. And it says, "Hey Dave, the worst part about taking a bat to the head is dealing with the depression." That's not like that. All right, and then here's this Dave's signature flower with I don't know, what is that, a lilac snapdragon? I don't know. It's blue and it's purple, but it's got a bumblebee doing its thing. Dave likes those bumblebees and flowers. And it says, "Dear Dave, sometimes I miss 1986. Not miss 1986. She never wrote back, but I do miss 1986. I like it. I like it a lot." All right, here's my theme song. Well, this is ironic. I just said it was National Weed Day. I just said that. And in the news, just popped up right here. This stinks. A noxious weed forces Arizona National Monument's picnic area to close until Monday. They had to pick National Weed Day. Visitors to Casa Grande Ruins National Monument in south central Arizona might not be able to use the attraction's picnic area until May. Monument officials say the picnic area will be closed from March 28th through April 30th because of the density of invasive and noxious winter weeds called stinkit that can grow more than 2 feet tall. Do you know what you call a weed that's always in your face? Well, I messed that one up. Do you know what you call a weed that's just right in your face when it talks? That's an obnoxious weed. Pretty bad. All right, let's move on. Monument officials are asking visitors not to walk near or step on the flowering weed to avoid spreading it. The Casa Grande Ruins team is working on a solution that will get the picnic area reopened as soon as possible, but they said it might take until May 1st. Or we could just decide to like weeds. You know, who decides what's, if there's some things that are on the borderline of what's something like a really obnoxious weed. Yeah, they're obnoxious. And then some are on the borderline. I think dandelions, they ride that edge. Like, are they obnoxious? You know, it depends how bad your OCD is in your green lawn. I think that all depends on that. Another U.S. news, front-end loader chase. That's what I'm talking about. There was an exciting front-end loader chase in Gwinnett Village, Georgia last Saturday. A former employee stole 75,000-pound front loader from a waste management facility. I like this guy. The suspect, ever since Grand Theft Auto, I know some of the older generation might not know what I'm talking about. I think these things I think people think that's real life. The suspect drove the loader out of the facility onto Jimmy Carter Boulevard and continued onto the other roads in the area. Police were unable to stop it because of its size. So an employee of the waste management company grabbed another front-end loader and gave chase. The two eventually, I wanted to see that, a loader chasing a loader. The two eventually met about 5 miles from the facility, and the pursuer was able to flip the suspect's loader into its side. The 38-year-old suspect was arrested. Wow. Gwinnett Village, I bet you that's the most exciting thing that's ever happened in Gwinnett Village, Georgia. It's like BattleBots in real life. Florida dog digs up old bomb next to house. In Jacksonville, Florida, a dog digging her own yard dug up a decades-old military bomb. Matthew Sims said the dog Baby was playing in his yard, but when she started digging at something, he started pulling it up quickly, put it back down, and when he saw it was a bomb about a foot long and weighing about 10 pounds. The bomb squad said it was an old, unexpected piece of military ordnance and a 120 millimeter mortar round. So when he found it, he was mortified. Like buried for decades. During World War II, there was a U.S. Naval Air Station at Jacksonville, which served as a pilot training facility. And so some wise guy buried a bomb way back in the day, and the guy's little Pomeranian dug it up. All right, well, I ran out of time here. We'll finish some more stories later on in the show. Here's Like a Cowboy. And you are listening to Dino Dave this Wednesday. We have a lot to talk about today. We've got Sarah Plummer coming in at the 8 o'clock hour to talk about the Women in Leadership Forum tonight. Oh, this just came in. Let's see, the forgetting things lately. The best things you can eat. Here are some foods you can add to your diet to help your brain work better. Blueberries, coffee, eggs, grape juice or wine, olive oil, soybeans, and turmeric. My problem is I need these things. But I go to the store just to buy eggs. $100 later, I buy everything but eggs. And if I only had eggs in the morning to help me remember eggs, I would have remembered the eggs. We have Easter coming up, March 31st, which is wrong. It should be in April. But if you want to gross out the kids at Easter this year, well, don't we all? Share this little factoid about rabbits. This is according to Woman's World. They eat their own droppings. And droppings, what a cute word. What a polite word for what droppings really is. I'm going to start using that. The grass and weeds wild rabbits eat, while healthy, aren't always easy to digest. And once their meals have come out the other end, they still need to consume more nutrients. We had a lop-eared rabbit growing up one time, and it was cute. It was like a living stuffed animal. The problem, and I know you can potty train rabbits, but this one never did. The problem with living stuffed animals is that, well, they're living stuffed animals, and all I'm going to say is I used to love Cocoa Puffs, and I haven't eaten them since. Do you live in a pancake state or a waffle state? What do you think Montana is? Are we a pancake or waffle? Someone at the Associated Press did a check to find out which states had the most Google searches for pancakes and which had the most searches for waffles. Well, the top 5 waffle states, Minnesota, Utah, Vermont, which is also famous for maple syrup, which makes sense because those waffle little squares, you have to fill up each little square with syrup. That's to eat a waffle, you have to. New Hampshire, and Maine. Those are the top 5 waffle states. The top 5 pancake states are Hawaii, Utah. Wait a minute, how can Utah be in both? I smell shenanigans. Oregon, Alaska, and New Hampshire. The New Hampshire's in both. Okay, you know what? I'm calling shenanigans on my own press thing that I'm reading here. But I thought it was interesting. I want to know what Montana is. Is Montana a pancake? I know I used to love the Hardee's all-you-can-eat pancakes on Wednesday nights for like 99 cents. That probably contributed to half my childhood obesity. But I think Montana's a French toast state. I think we're neither. We're French toast. Do you have a close friend? Then you probably spent a lot of time together first. Research has shown that it can take over 200 hours of spending time with someone to develop a close relationship. I wonder how much hours my buddy Dave and I from kindergarten have. That's a lot of hours. And postcards from Dave will be coming up right at the top of the hour. All right, let's do some postcards from Dave. Let's see, here's our first one. I think you guys know Dave by now. This one is a postcard. Let's see, I'm videoing this now, so I'm going to post this later. This is a beautiful picture of Iceland with the moss. You know, I learned in biology, the first thing that comes when there's new land is moss all over the lava rocks. So if you drive to Iceland, you'll drive miles and miles of moss-covered lava, and it looks amazing. And in the middle of all this moss is a plastic Viking sword. When we went to Iceland, we bought plastic Viking hats and plastic Viking swords. I know we are grown men, but that's what we do. And we traveled around with, and we have a bunch of pictures of us with as Vikings traveling around Iceland. It was so fun. It was a fun trip. Anyway, in the middle of this postcard, it says, when a farmer's wife leaves him, well, first of all, it says, Dear Dave. When a farmer's wife leaves him, she usually writes him a John Deere letter. Oh, please don't. I wish I could just read these for 3 hours straight, honestly. Okay, here's a nice picture of mountain flowers, orange and purple and mountain and a meadow. Beautiful scene. And it says, Dear Dave, gypsies, turtles, snails, and hermit crabs have no idea what they're saying or what the saying "we're halfway home" means. All right, let's try it. Oops, bump the microphone here. Let's see. And this was this is a nice winter scene of some snow on some, I don't know, those willow trees. And they got the, and he blurred out it all white. So it made it all artistic, like with some snowy winter scene. Looks cold out there. Okay. Dear Dave, what if the restaurants Waffle House and International House of Pancakes got in a fight? The loser would be toast. Beautiful. We have let's do a Montana history moment. This story kind of blew my mind. I like this one. So listen to this. This is titled Trail of Destruction from What They Left Behind, and it's got a surprise ending for you. Before whites settled in eastern Montana, Irish nobleman Sir George Gore, remember that name, Sir George Gore, enjoyed a hunting trip of astonishing destruction. An Oxford-educated scholar and avid hunter, Sir George had thrilled to tales of the American West and organized a 3-year hunting trip. His party set out from Westport, Missouri in 1854 under sanction of the American Fur Trading Company. Famed mountain man Jim Bridger guided the caravan, which included 110 horses, 20 yoke of oxen, 50 hunting hounds, and 28 vehicles, and 16 of them carrying Sir George's luggage. When the party camped, a large green and white striped canvas wall tent provided Sir George's shelter. French carpet, heated stoves, a brass bedstead, and a steel bathtub, an oak dining set, and a commode with a fur-lined seat and removable pot promised Sir George all the comforts. For 2 years, he passed the evenings enjoying sumptuous banquets, fine wine, and literary discussions with Jim Bridger. By day on his gray thoroughbred named Steel Trap, Sir George pursued game. Aside from trophy heads, he rarely retrieved the meat, leaving it to spoil. Sounds like a real winner here. After Sir George devastated the Yellowstone Valley in 1856, Crow estimates of this terrible waste there included 105 bears, more than 2,000 bison, and 1,600 elk and deer. His reputation preceded him, however. In the Black Hills en route to St. Louis, his party fell prey to a band of Sioux. Stripped naked and forced to abandon their goods, the arrogant slob hunter and his party experienced survival for real. During his stay in Montana, Sir George left one lasting legacy. Listen to this. He named the Yellowstone's local tributary Glendive, from which the town, some 25 years later, took its name. I did not know that. We were named after a jerk. Are we going to have to become like the Cleveland Indians and change it to like the Cleveland Guardians? Or what about the Washington football team? Are we going to have to change our name, Glendive, to the Glendive Small Town? We might have to after reading this. Actually, I did a bigger dive into the naming of Glendive, which maybe I'll read more tomorrow. It gets a little bit more interesting. According to the internet, which, according to the internet, as that's a source, Glendive was actually derived from a spelling. It's supposed to be Glen Dale. And it was and Sir George named it after a creek that reminded him of home over in Ireland. But yeah, Glendive was named after a jerk. I didn't know that. According to the American Kennel Club, a new listing of America's favorite dogs is out, and the French Bulldog tops the list, followed by former number one, the Labrador Retriever, the Golden Retriever, the German Shepherd, and the Poodle. And I may make a few people mad here, but that's bad news. That's sad news. The French Bulldog, so when I taught biology in high school, we had a whole day on dogs. And the French Bulldogs cannot breathe. We watched YouTube videos that they sometimes they need surgery because they're severely inbred. I mean, all purebreds are, but we talked about how all dogs are once wolves. All dogs are wolves. And over not too long, but of thousands of human history, eventually bred for the right parts. But we also talked about there's this thing called the Habsburg jaw, and there's the royal family named the Habsburgs in Europe. Oh, I can't remember. I think it was in the 1700s, maybe it was the 1500s. But they were too good to populate with the poor, so they only populated royalty, and they became inbred, and they all had this Habsburg jaw, and it really was not good. And these French Bulldogs, we watched a couple YouTube videos and some exposés like they can't breathe. So careful with the French Bulldogs. I know they're cute, but they're not natural, and they're destined for a life that's not, buy some dogs that can breathe. That's all I gotta say. And now here comes 7 psychological truths no one taught you. Brought to you, I learned this from that weird guy named Joe I follow on Facebook, but he speaks truth to me, so I'm going to share it with you. I don't know this guy, but every time he talks, he speaks truth. All right, number 1, they start to miss you when they fail to replace you. Number 2, anger is a condition in which the tongue works faster than the mind, so hold it, and you will not regret what you say. Number 3, you can't be strong all the time. Sometimes you have to be alone and just cry. You can't start a new chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Money is numbers, and numbers never end. If the search for happiness involves money, you will never be happy. Believe it or not, you can have anything you want. Your abilities are limitless. Ask and you shall receive, the Nazarene said. Most people are trying to find the right person instead of being the right person, which in turn is how you find the right person. No comparisons, please. There is no one with your unique mix, and no one can play your role better than you. I think I just found my new karaoke song. I'd have to have someone help though, someone to sing the regular part, and I could just do the low part. Same with Elvira. If I could just do the bop 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 bow bow, then I would karaoke once again. Anyway, moving on. Worst Easter candies. Which candies do people not see in their Easter basket this Sunday, March 31st, which is still doesn't feel right to me. It should be April. A recent survey says the number 1 most unwanted candy, no, this can't be right. Cadbury cream eggs, the best candy ever. I get one a year. I go by and one Cadbury cream egg a year, and it's the best part of Easter, and they say it's the number 1 most unwanted candy. What's wrong with me then? I love them. Number 2 on the not wanted list is Easter candy corn. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Candy corn. Followed further down the list by Peeps. Yep. Marshmallow eggs. Yep. Chocolate crosses. I've never had a chocolate crosses. And generic jelly beans. Yeah, generic's no good, but Jelly Belly, that's a winner, but I don't believe this is from thecandystore.com, but there must be something wrong with me because I'm going to go buy a Cadbury egg now just to rebel. One plan I have, especially when it starts to get a little bit warmer out, is have a Makoshika moment on this show and talk about some legends of Makoshika. I saw Lou Melby at Subway the other day. Lou, he promised me he'd come in here. He's scared I'm going to make fun of him. Who could make fun of Lou and his bluebirds? I would never do that. But I really want Lou to come in here and talk about his bluebirds. I think he just likes bluebirds because it sounds like Lou. I mean, if his name was Rob, he'd probably be into robins, right? All right, that's pretty bad. No, I hope Lou comes in here and talks about that. Greg Hagenston. I'm gonna try and get some Makoshika legends in here and talk a little bit about that. One of my goals, though, is to talk a little bit more about Dr. Hyatt. I remember growing up as a kid, I thought Dr. Hyatt meant he was a paleontologist doctor when I was 6 years old, and Dad would always tell me, maybe Dr. Hyatt's in Makoshika today, and it's like 9 out of 10 times he was. If it was a nice day, we'd go up there, and the time I got to first meet him when I was 6 years old, I got to show him some of my first fossils, and he would I thought he was a rock star, and he was a rock star. He so much to Glendive. In fact, let me just quick tell you about the story. I better save some of them for later. But first of all, the name of the witch's hat that the government said, I'm sorry, not the government, but I didn't mean to say it like that. But that it's actually named the witch's hat. Well, I have to call it Tyrannosaurus Peak because that's what Dr. Hyatt called. Right when you go into the entrance and you go look up there, and the legend is that Dr. Hyatt found a 6-inch T-Rex tooth up there once. And he sure could have. I would never doubt that. And so he named it Tyrannosaurus Peak. So there you go. I kind of gave away one fossil spot. I probably shouldn't do that. But there you go. But I will tell you more Dr. Hyatt stories later, and we'll start having more Makoshika moments on this show. Come on in.
How's it going?
Good. See ya. Have a seat. We will be on, it's probably 15 minutes or so. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not expecting you to start full on telling stories or anything, right? You're gonna at least lead me a little bit.
Yes, yeah. I got a few. I'll even tell you the few questions, and I only have 4 written down. And it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be whatever. Just be comfortable.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured. I was like,
Yeah.
Ruthie usually does a pretty solid job on, kind of.
Oh, now the pressure's on. No, I don't know I don't know what I'm doing. Just so I'm pretty tell. But sometimes that makes it fun. Oh, whoops, we're on video. Thank you, Sarah Plummer, for coming in this studio. That was great. Now let's do a quick. Oh, I better hurry up. Let's do. We've got news coming up. Let's do a Facebook post that nobody liked. Let's see. Wouldn't it make sense to make every winter month 28 days long and add the 3 days of June, July, and August? Yeah, nobody liked that one. These are Facebook posts over the past 10 years that nobody liked. Michael Jordan is the Dino Dave of basketball. Nobody liked that one. I like to do my procrastinating later. Wasn't too bad. Let's see, of all the reasons to live in small town Montana, in and out of the DMV, 10 minutes might be number 1. I think I just talked about that one. And then let's end on this one. What I like best about shopping at health food stores is the feeling of hope for the world as I'm surrounded by people who are better than me. Okay, no one liked that, but I did. And so, all right, we got the news and Commodity Open coming up. Let's talk to you in a bit.